Bernie Sanders, by everything, by every metric, is winning. He is the front runner. And I could tell you, and I'm going to show you another poll that, again, are oversampling older people, undersampling young people to say, oh, look, Joe Biden is up double digits. No. Unless they actually tell you and tell us how many older people are they sampling versus how many younger people, I don't believe what they're saying, because I think they're oversampling older people. No offense to my older viewers. There's plenty of people out there that are older and love them some Bernie and feeling the burn. However, by the numbers, Bernie Sanders is a huge advantage among millennials and young people. So if they're not going to give us the information on how many young people are you polling, if you're polling over 1,000 people, are you polling 400, 500 young people, or are you polling 40 or 50 young people? Kind of important to know for the context whether we could take these polls seriously. And so far, CNN has not responded to my request for comment on their polling methodology. Neither has Quinnipiac, neither has Emerson, and I just reached out to Morning Consult today. Still waiting. Not holding my breath. But when you look at the fundraising numbers, which we went over the other day, when you look at the donations, when you look at the volunteers, over 1 million volunteers now let's look at Bernie Sanders, along with Ro Khanna, along with Senator Chris Murphy, give credit to extremist Republican Senator Mike Lee, just successfully got the first ever use of the War Powers Act in America to not only pass the Senate, but also pass the House of Representatives. This was spearheaded by Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna's leadership. Congress has given final approval on a resolution to end American military assistance for Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen in an unprecedented attempt to curtail the president's power to go to a war and sweeping rebuke to Donald Trump's foreign policy. The House voted 247 to 175 to send the resolution to the president's desk, where it is likely to be met with a veto. 16 Republicans broke ranks and joined Democrats in the effort. The Senate passed the resolution last month, with 7 Republicans voting in favor of it. The resolution's passage sets up another confrontation between Congress and Trump, who has already threatened to veto it. The White House has said the resolution raises serious constitutional concerns. Of course, that's BS. The vote marks the first time Congress has invoked the 1973 War Powers Act to curb the executive's power to take the country into a conflict without congressional approval. It is aimed at ending U.S. involvement in the long-running Yemen conflict. Under intense public and congressional pressure, the Pentagon stopped providing aerial refueling in November for Saudi warplanes on Yemen's sorties. Benjamin Friedman, policy director for the Defense Priorities think tank, said that most of the remaining U.S. involvement in the conflict was in the providing intelligence support for the coalition. Quote, it'll be a mix of intelligence, including signal intercepts, overheard surveillance from satellites and aircraft, including drones, Friedman said. Exactly just how dependent the Saudis and UAE are on the U.S. is hard to say. The war in Yemen, which has just entered its 5th year, is estimated to have killed more than 60,000 people and left millions on the brink of starvation, creating what the UN called the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Let's hear Bernie Sanders on this. Sorry, this is from his YouTube channel. The video and audio is not the greatest, but this is the best I could find you. Here we go.
Who understood the importance of what we're doing. Just want to make a few points. What we're seeing now in Yemen is an unparalleled humanitarian disaster. Some 85,000 children have already starved to death as a result of the Saudi-led war. And if we do not act decisively in helping them to rebuild their economy, provide them with humanitarian aid, provide food, not bombs, the situation could become even worse, as Rose said. Second point of importance is the vote in the Senate and in the House makes it clear that the United States will not continue to follow the despotic, anti-democratic leadership coming out of Saudi Arabia. They have their aggressive foreign policy, their aggressive military policy. I think it's a bad idea, but at the very least, the United States should not be led into a war by a despotic, undemocratic, murderous regime. third point, which applies not only to Yemen, but to the future. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution is pretty clear. It is the United States Congress, not the President, who has responsibilities in terms of lawmaking. But tragically, for many years, under Democratic presidents, under Republican presidents, the Congress has abdicated its responsibility. Today, the Congress says we are taking that responsibility back, not just for Yemen, but in the future as well. And the fourth point that I want to make is President Trump has said, appropriately enough, that he wants the United States to get out of endless wars. Well, this war in Yemen has gone on long enough. And if the president wants to keep faith with what he has talked about, I hope very much that he will sign this historic legislation and work with us to make sure that the United States does not continue to be involved in endless and destructive wars.
Sorry if that video quality was not the best. I got it from his page. So, a few things. Number one, let's forget politics for a second. Let's forget Bernie Sanders for a second. Putting aside politics and 2020 and Bernie and all that. It says something about our country and our media that there's such a cognitive dissonance. The media spends all their time, creating this propaganda that someone like Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard is an Assad toady and an Assad apologist and pox on her house. By the way, as of yesterday or 2 days ago, I think she was like 5,000 donors away from making the debate stage. I think she was at 57,000. If I was I might be 1,000 wrong. It could have been 57,000 or 58,000. I don't remember, but a lot closer to 65,000, which she needs 65,000 donations to get to 65,000 donors to get to the debate. So she is a toady, and she's an apologist, and she should be ostracized and banished from media and cocktail parties and these, she should not be taken as a serious candidate. Yet, for many years, and by the way, I do not even think this would have passed, this Yemen war resolution would have passed if not for the tragic execution, barbarism, beheading of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Because then suddenly Congress and the media elite and the punditariat class, I now call it the punditariat, that's when they suddenly were like, oh, this guy, Mohammed bin Salman, he's a brutal dictator, this one. And look what they're doing. And now we could talk about Yemen. I'm sorry that Khashoggi was executed. It's terrible. I mean, any human, non-crazy person would say it's terrible. But why did it take that to start talking about genocide in Yemen and the United States' role? Because that's really what it took. So I just want to make the point that Saudi Arabia would not have been able to butcher as many children and women and innocents in Yemen without the United States, starting with you, President Barack Obama. It's not just Trump. This started under Barack Obama. Okay? And I didn't hear Nancy Pelosi. I didn't hear Chuck Schumer telling him no on this. Obviously, we didn't hear the Republican Party saying anything. So this is a national disgrace. We have blood on our hands, just like we have blood on our hands in Libya. Iraq, Afghanistan, we should have been out. Somalia, Pakistan. I could go on. So I am glad this has passed the House and the Senate. And you know what? If Trump vetoes it, good. Because then we have a debate. Because the media will only cover pertinent issues if it involves Donald Trump, because that's their cash cow. So let him veto it. And then an actual leader, Bernie Sanders, can be covered the way he should be covered, which is as the front runner of the presidential candidate campaign on the Democratic side, and as a leader. They say, what has Bernie done? Oh, he's only just spearheaded and led the effort to, for the first time in American history, have the War Powers Act implemented. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.